London. I'm feeling vibes on vibes. I'm taking dynamite. I blow your candle lights. You know I'm just that type. No, them no fit kill my vibe. Them no fit kill my vibe. Them no fit kill. Them no fit kill. Them no fit kill my wise man said, follow the stars. Yeah, you shall find a piece of advice. If you hit your enemies, enemies shine. If you're not a friend of me, enter the light. But you can never kill my vibe. Got here with no sacrifices. Everything was taken, still had to make peace. Vibe killer, me I no go take shit. Vibe killer, love you somebody that protect my energy from your bad aura. That my past don't say, I be my healer, everything I desire. I go this deep, my rhythm flow like a river. If you get sour, come on, go and sit down. I go just para, come on, my chica. I go just follow my dream. I'm feeling vibes on vibes. I'm taking dynamite. I blow your candle like fire. You know I'm just that type. No, there's nothing kill my vibe. There's nothing kill my vibe. You're nothing kill. You're nothing kill. You're nothing kill my vibe. I see you watching my stories. I see you getting my lifestyle. I see you watching my movements. This bad bitch bad every day. I know they look at your face. Bad man bad every day. Get on your knees and pray. Do you regain your faith? Vibe killer, love you somebody that protect my energy from your bad aura. That my past don't say, I be my healer, everything I desire. I go this deep, my rhythm flow like a river. If you get sour, come on, go and sit down. I go just para, come on, my chica. I go just follow my dream. I'm feeling vibes on vibes. I'm taking dynamite. I blow your
Hello. Hello, everyone. Are we streaming live?
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. So basically, I just want to welcome you to the Zen Finance DeFi Hackathon 2021. Welcome to our first panel session with an esteemed panel of guests. This is Building Real World Solutions, Bridging Decentralized Finance with the Real World. I want to take a moment to kind of introduce some of our panelists right now who've taken the time to present to us. This is the largest hackathon in Africa's history. We're very excited to have this team. Of course, we have Julian Tan, the BSC Ecosystem Coordinator for Binance and Binance Smart Chain. Binance needs no introduction, of course. They have their hand in everything related to blockchain and crypto. We were the first, Zen Finance was the first company to build on Binance Smart Chain out of Africa. They're one of our investors. And so we're very excited to have Julian. Also, we would like to welcome Arjun Kalsi. He is the head of growth at Polygon. Polygon, of course, is the Ethereum's internet of blockchains. They are one of the hottest companies to, basically hottest protocols, hottest platforms to come out in the last few years. Mark Cuban actually invested in them just a few months back. Also wanted to introduce our Vijay Garg, who is the CEO of Maple Block Capital. He, of course, has worked with all of the major banks in the world: J.P. Morgan, Goldman Sachs. He has 16 years experience working in the crypto and finance space, doing forensics analysis. But we are very excited to have this great group of panelists. And first off, we want to introduce Julian Tan, who's the BSC Ecosystem Coordinator. He will be giving a 10 to 15 minute speech, and then we will move on from there. Julian, thank you for joining us.
Hey, Kevin, thanks for the kind introductions. And once again, thanks as the Zen team for having me on this panel today. So if I could quickly share my screen, I like to basically talk and share some of the insights that I see as well as what BSC has been doing. Basically along the lines in terms of some of the traditional finance issues as well versus DeFi, and how BSC is helping to solve real world DeFi problems, and what can people actually expect of BSC as a tool for developers around the globe. Let me share my screen. Cool. So as Kevin has introduced, I'm the BSC ecosystem coordinator, and I'm here to talk to you about traditional finance as well as DeFi, right? I think a lot of people actually understand what's going on between traditional finance as well as DeFi, but for those people who don't know, there is a trustless system in DeFi, right? So that means we're cutting out all the middle people. You no longer need to have a third party, a bank, a person, or any other intermediary that could operate between you or your assets, right? As well, the concept of trustlessness basically is a core element of the blockchain, achieved via the utilization as well as execution of smart contracts. By cutting out all the middleman, transactions can now happen a lot faster and cheaper, and that's why DeFi right now, in a more global perspective, is gaining a lot of traction. And you see that happening every day with TVL, the utilization on the blockchain, not just on BSC, but you see that happening on Polygon, you see that happening on Solana, right? And we definitely think that this could swell up as the days and the year goes by, as well as the sophistication of the blockchain technology, as well as smart contracts improve. So in BSC, we have about 1,000 different projects currently live, all serving different part of the DeFi ecosystem, right? We have some of the more famous ones like Cream Finance, Fortube, Spartan Protocol on lending. For wallets, we have a couple of them as well. The more famous ones are like Math Wallet, Coin98, Trust Wallet, Swipe. We have also, for stable coins, we have quite a few, right? We have Curve, we have Ellipsis, BUSD, BDollar. They're all supported and or supporting our ecosystem as well. And for yield farming as well as Launchpad, those are definitely things that most people are interested in, how to make your money grow, right? For yield farming, we have some really cool ones like Beefy Finance. We have Alpaca as well. And for Launchpad, right, we have PancakeSwap, Hotcross, BSC Pat, and just to name a few. It's impossible for me to name all 1,000 of them. So if I missed out any of these projects' names, no hard feelings. So if you zoom out and we start to look at how the DeFi versus traditional finance space has developed over the last couple of years, you can quickly see that, you know, in terms of the gross value locked and versus the net value locked, the growth of DeFi has been exponential, right? And this is only the beginning, considered that, you know, this is a fairly new kind of thing, or fairly new kind of waters that we're all venturing into. And I would expect this chart to be a lot more steep as well as bigger as the industry develops and more ideas start to come up in terms of what people are able to achieve, the autonomy that people are able to achieve when it comes to smart contracts, as well as the utilization of the blockchains. And you see it right now, right? With GameFi and that kind of stuff. Yeah. So zooming into some of the key infrastructures in terms of the BSC DeFi ecosystem, we obviously at the core of every single DeFi ecosystem, you would have stablecoin, yield farming, decentralized exchanges, lending protocols, as well as the collateralization of real assets, right? So this is what we at BSC over here view as one of the crucial elements, or what they call it a DeFi Legos, that would allow other kind of applications or other kind of economies like GameFi to actually build on top of them, giving rise to new industrial, new economical models using what has been developed by these applications, right? If you compare them to traditional finance, you realize, like for stablecoin yield farming, right, you're earning interest rates on your stablecoin pegged to the dollar, right? That in the traditional finance world, it's something called a savings, a fixed deposit account, where you actually deposit your fiat, earn interest from those, right? On decentralized exchanges, obviously in traditional finance, it will be probably stock, commodity brokerages, or even FX, that kind of platforms, maybe like Robinhood, that kind of stuff, right? For lending protocols, then, you know, you could easily compare them to bank loans, as well as the traditional finance lending system, and collateralization of real assets. That's also there in traditional finance with mortgage facilities, right? Or attestation of certain assets that allow you to get that kind of loans from your traditional financial kind of institutions. So of course, with all the good things about decentralized finance, as I've just said, DeFi is still really in its infancy stage, and there's a lot of issues right now on DeFi, right? Issues such as smart contract vulnerabilities. We have volatility in digital assets as well, just to name a few. But the whole issue is that self-custody is one of the major issues, as the entire system requires everyone to be responsible for their own assets, right? So if you look at the characteristics of the blockchain, where the blockchain transactions are immutable, sometimes it's very hard to actually reverse a transaction when a transaction has been made, right? So, or if you lose your private keys to your wallet, then that could be like a huge thing for you as a user. So how is BSC helping to bridge this gap between decentralized finance as well as centralized finance? We have several things that could allow developers to easily just come in and build their platforms or their protocols on BSC, right? The first of which is obviously the Priority 1 campaign. So for people who are not very familiar with what we've been doing, the Priority 1 campaign is basically a campaign where we are leveraging off our own BSC accelerator funds and helping projects that are building on BSC to actually have more money to actually post out for white hat hackers and those kind of hacking syndicates to actually come in and give a shot at hacking the protocol itself, right? And obviously, if they find any kind of critical or high issue kind of bugs that might lead to a jeopardization of users' funds, then obviously we will help the project to pay out a certain percentage of the bounty that they put up, right? Another thing would obviously be the Binance Bridge. This is something that we feel also definitely helps to bridge these decentralized finance as well as centralized financial world, is because in the earlier days of blockchain, right? I think in 2017, 2016, if you're looking at like switching an asset on Ethereum to a different one, like maybe probably like Binance Chain, you're going to have a lot of issues, right? But today, it's so easy, right? So easy to switch between your Bitcoin on Polygon, your Bitcoin on the Ethereum network, or even your Bitcoin on a BSC, right? And a lot of this that we do, the facilitation that we do is through the Binance Bridge, right? A lot of these assets are now also on Binance Bridge. Just for example, like today, earlier today, we are finally bringing Solana and a few other kind of tokens that wasn't previously on Binance Smart Chain, but now to Binance Smart Chain. So you're able to exchange your tokens and access from even different kind of platforms, even for Solana to come in to BSC and use or onboard to any of the protocols that you have interest in. Obviously, for us, we also have partnership with several audit firms, right? Just to name a few, as like Slomis, Paxio, Sodic. We have green lane arrangements for each and every of these auditing firms. I think I'm not too sure about if you're building on another protocol, but for BSC, if you are going for an audit, the average waiting time is about 2 or 3 weeks, right? So that could help you guys gain that kind of confidence, as well as it allows your community to have that kind of confidence knowing that your code has been reviewed and looked at by a reputable firm, right? As previously I mentioned about the Binance Bridge, we also have something called the B tokens, which is like what, without going too much in depth in terms of what these B tokens are, they're basically tokens that are on different kind of protocols that have been issued on BSC, right? So it's really easy now for any kind of developers to base their native token even on a different protocol to come into build on BSC, right? Because we can easily get these kind of B tokens available for liquidity through the Binance Bridge or through some of our liquidity providers, and allow you to quickly bring over all your assets to BSC and run the show as per normal. Another thing was obviously is DeFi Legos. I think what I take pride in, as well as I'm pretty sure I speak for the rest of the BSC team when I say that we have a pretty solid as well as comprehensive foundation in terms of DeFi Legos, which could then allow anyone to come in and build more complex kind of yield farming protocols, or even build an entirely new ecosystem based off the kind of DeFi Legos foundation that we laid out, right? Another thing that I definitely wanted to say how we're helping to bridge this gap is through the MVP program. For people who have been keeping up with us, the MVP program is where it's like we gamified the entire building program, right? For developers who are actually building that, any of these projects that gain the most amount of traction, they would be able to gain like several cool stuff from us, right? From the BSC team, sometimes you do investments or even grants for projects that come through this MVP program. And if you actually look, the Binance.com more centralized exchange as well helps to support our initiatives by giving us a prioritization for projects that are on BSC, right? So with this MVP program, it's like a fast track acceleration program, which allows you guys to easily grow with BSC. We also have high performance infrastructure that has been built in the BSC. And there are several really, really cool things that are coming on, such as we are about to, I can't say too much, but we are about to give a really, really good and solid solution in terms of the gamified issues that we currently have amongst the entire blockchain ecosystem, not just BSC. A lot of these games there are actually limited by low TPS as well as high gas fees, right? So we are constantly looking at our existing infrastructure as well as improving that so that we help to provide an optimum kind of platform for any form of developers to come in and build on it. So for our tech roadmap, right? The first thing is definitely interoperability and composition. We definitely, our team imagine a world where, you know, eventually every single protocol you'll be able to onboard via different blockchains, right? So the people at BSC, we are definitely for this kind of interoperability when it comes to protocols, right? On our tech roadmap as well, we are prioritizing high performance EVM and infra optimization, right? Some of the things that I was suggesting would be a faster block finality, right? We are also looking to start to provide more light node support for archive APIs as well as stream, as well as resolving all these storage bottlenecks, as well as the concurrent execution of the EVM. And of course, the network enhancements, right? We would also be supporting on-chain randomizers in time to come, as well as we are looking into privacy preserving solutions as well that could help safeguard your privacy whenever you're on board through a chain like BSC, right? So that's actually what I really, really wanted to share with anyone who's tuning in. If you're interested to learn more about BSC or take part in any of our programs, feel free to reach us at these various links, Twitter, Telegram, developer Telegram community, or even reach out to us in terms of if you think your project's really interesting and you think that we might be interested, reach out to us through the BSC Accelerator Fund. Thank you.
Julian, thank you very much for that presentation.